Now, Britain is struggling to rein in rising food prices, latest figures show. British Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt said it was a positive sign that inflation is now in single digits. However, Hunt quickly added that food prices are still rising too fast. Numbers released today show that the annual inflation rate fell to an 8-month low of 8.7% in April. In fact, in contrast with a 10.1% inflation rate in March. This data has come a day after the International Monetary Fund said that it now predicts UK's economy to grow this year and not really enter a recession. Well, now we're joined by Jan Lambregts, head of Rabo Research Global Economics and Markets, joining us right now. He's in fact with us, I'm being told by my producer here. So thank you very much, Jan, for joining us here. Now, inflation is at 8.6% despite softening energy prices, food inflation too high. Is the UK's plan to combat inflation working at a snail's pace? And what do you make of today's data that has come out?
Yeah, it's clearly not working as well as it works for other parts of the world. The UK has moved quite aggressively on interest rates, but it's simply not enough. We're seeing progress now. Much of that is due to the base year comparison for energy prices becoming more favorable. But food price inflation, you mentioned it there, including beverages, non-alcoholic beverages, continues to be running at 19% in the year up to April. So that is an astonishing amount, and that needs to be combated. So it's a real wake-up call. It's again a sign that Brexit is making a lot of processes harder. It's impacting growth more, but it's also making inflation more sticky. Also very present is a move from goods price inflation to services price inflation, and that should leave central bankers really worried because that's much harder to combat. A lot of people thinking that what we'll need now is higher interest rates than we previously thought. You actually see gilt yields at levels that were last seen when Liz Truss tried to push through the mini budget, which wasn't a great success, of course.
Right, it wasn't really a great success, but only yesterday the IMF said that it now expects the UK to grow by 0.4% instead of the economy, in fact, contracting. Will it lift spirits in London?
It lifts spirits, of course, you have growth, but in a world where demand outstrips supply, where supply chains still have issues, central bankers are essentially trying to bring demand down to meet supply. And that is their combat against inflation. They're willing to risk or even have a slowdown or a recession if it means bringing inflation and their inflation fighting credentials back under control. So in a way, yes, it's positive that we'll have growth, but it may also mean that the fight against inflation simply isn't working enough. We haven't hiked interest rates enough. That's a message that will be very sobering after that upbeat message, relatively upbeat, of course, from the IMF.
Right. So what is your expectation on rates, as far as the UK is concerned? We've seen that inflation has fell to an 8-month low of 8.7% in April. That's a bit of positive news. But what's your overall analysis on rates going forward?
Yeah, our analysts reckon that we could see another 25 to 50 basis points. And to be fair, that was, of course, before these inflation numbers hit. So if we don't see more progress in the upcoming months, then more is possible. It's not that the UK economy can really bear this very well. It's just that apparently things need to be hurt and broken to bring inflation back under control, or we have a totally separate problem as this problem is becoming increasingly entrenched.
Well, thank you so much, Jan, for joining us here on ET Now in India. Thank you very much for taking out time and speaking to us.